When you understand the universe is friendly, there's something better. That's the law.
Byron Katie. Judge your neighbor, write it down, ask 4 questions, turn it around. In 1986, at the bottom of a 10-year spiral into depression, rage, and self-loathing, Byron Katie woke up one morning to a state of constant joy that has never left her. She realized that when she believed her stressful thoughts, she suffered, but that when she questioned them, she didn't suffer, and that this is true for every human being. Her simple, yet powerful process of inquiry is called the work. The work consists of 4 questions and the turnarounds, which are a way of experiencing the opposite of what you believe. When you question a thought, you see around it to the choices beyond suffering. Katie has been bringing the work to millions of people for more than 30 years. Her public events, weekend workshops, 5-day intensives, 9-day school for the work, and 28-day residential turnaround house have brought freedom to people all over the world. Byron Katie's books include the best-selling Loving What Is, I Need Your Love, Is That True?, 1,000 Names for Joy, and A Mind at Home with Itself. For more information, visit thework.com. I'm so looking forward to my conversation with Byron Katie. Stay tuned. So Katie, for those people who are not familiar with you and your process, please define what the work is and how, in 1986, it found you.
Well, identifying the cause of all of our suffering is a worthy cause. And what we're thinking and believing is the cause of all suffering and discontent, disagreement, war, basically, the opposite of peace. So the work is a way to identify the cause of all suffering. It's a way to identify what we're thinking and believing anytime we are in an argument with someone. That doesn't say arguments aren't healthy. That's not it. But we don't like losing them either sometimes. Right. But we're in an argument. We're angry, or we're home alone and something hits our head. But it's a way of, and it upsets us. We're guilt-ridden, etc. And then addictions kick in, and guilt is like the fertile ground for addiction. So the work is a way to take care of that. It's a way to identify what we're thinking and believing in those times of stress, identify them, put them on paper. That is the mind stopped. And then we can question them using these 4 simple questions and what I call just trying on like a new pair of shoes, opposites, just to see how it fits. And so that's the work. If it weren't so simple, it never would have found me. I never would have noticed on that floor. And you ask about how did the work find me? After more than a decade of just debilitating depression and suicidal and so agoraphobic, it was terrifying sometimes just to leave my bedroom, more or less my house. So one day as I lay sleeping on the floor, because I didn't believe I even deserved a bed to sleep in. So one morning as I lay sleeping on the floor, actually a bug crawled over my foot, and I opened my eyes, and in place of all that suffering was an experience that to this day I can't describe, but I can tell you it was the opposite of all the pain was gone. And I saw in that moment, it was that moment I woke up, startled. Yeah. And then the ego did not have a chance to fill in that gap. There was just a kind of stillness, and in that stillness, everything became obvious. The cause of my entire life and all the suffering involved. And I began to laugh. It was like that was the first sound that came out of it. Just laughter. And because it's like I got the joke. And why didn't someone tell me.
Right.
And then from then on, word of mouth, people have been inviting me to share the work with them all over the world. So let's look at the 4 questions. The first one is it true? For example, he doesn't care about me. Maybe someone said something to hurt my feelings, and I had the thought he doesn't care about me. And the first question would be, is it true? He doesn't care about me. And so we just meditate in that. We contemplate it rather than just believe it, to allow it to end in a question mark and get still in it. And just be in that situation in your mind's eye when it happened. He doesn't care about me. Is it true? Then the second question is, can I really know that it's true he doesn't care about me? And to contemplate that. And there are only 4 questions, and that's 2 of them, the first 2. And the answer is either yes or no. It's not, well, that's a discussion. This takes quietness, mindfulness, stillness, to sit in the cause of suffering and get it squared away. So the answer is yes or no. And if you see it's true and you've really considered it, then no is the right answer. If it's yes, then yes is the right answer because you're only dealing with you. We're not trying to prove anything to the world. This is personal work. Then the third question, notice, and I'll put it here, to notice with my eyes closed, just sitting, how I reacted. What happened when I believed the thought? So I get really quiet and I get in touch with the emotions that happen when I believe the thought he doesn't care about me. And then maybe I felt tears come to my eyes, or maybe it was anger, maybe it was rage. What did I say or do that was unkind to that human being? Just to sit in it and notice the tendencies of the shoulders to get stiff, the stomach to the head, the images of past, future that happen in our heads. And we're witnessing the cause of the suffering. That person does not have the power to hurt me. What I discover as I sit in that, all of us, is what I'm thinking and believing in that situation was the cause of my suffering. And then the last question, who would I be? What would I be without the thought he doesn't care about me as he's speaking? Now I can listen. I can close my eyes. I can be there now. It's in the past, so I'm safe, from emotion. Who would I be? What would I be without the thought he doesn't care about me in that situation? Listening. I see a very troubled human being because I'm really sitting in a real experience. Compassionate. I'd be more compassionate. Understanding, listening. And he's saying something right now that as it turns out, he was right. So I may want to go back and admit it to him and apologize and make it right and start over so I can feel right within myself. And then the guilt's gone, and there goes the alcoholism, there goes the eating disorder, there goes the anger, there goes so these 4 questions, there's something to travel with, and I don't call it the work for nothing. It's a life's process. And then the work is 4 questions and turnaround. So he doesn't care about me. Turned around, I'm going to find an opposite. He does care about me. And the ego could go, no way. Okay. We're just talking about that moment in time when I was feeling it. Okay, I'm going to go back again. He does care about me. Okay, now I need to get still enough to see him in my mind's eye and listen to his words. He does care about me. Now, I'm going to try that on, like I'm in the shoe store, and I see these great shoes, but I'm not going to buy them if they don't fit.
Right.
I'm not going to pay. Yeah, so, okay. So he does care about me. I'm going to try that on, and I'm not moving negative thoughts to positive affirmations. The ego will eventually just take care of those. They're kinder, but I've got to know he does care so I'm going to start trying it on. And then another turnaround, he doesn't care about me. I don't care about him. I can see in that situation how uncaring I was. I've already seen it through that, witnessing how I react when I believe the thought. Okay, so then I sit in that. A lot of tears can come. We're sitting in what people refer to as self-realization.
Yes.
To realize the self. He does care about me. So the original, he doesn't care about me. He does care about me. He doesn't care about me. I don't care about me. Okay, where is it that I wasn't caring, that I wasn't thoughtful, that my mind was closed? And then that will show me other areas of my life as well. This work just does.
Being really real with yourself. That's just what keeps coming up whenever I hear you.
It's a surgery.
Surgery.
It is like ripping your own guts out as you just sit here traveling through the cause of suffering in your life. And once you understand that it's what you were thinking and believing in any given situation,
Yes.
and you can go back and sit in it through these questions, it's like we start rising like the phoenix. It's like we come out of some kind of tomb. And I did come out of some kind of tomb. And if I can do it, if I can do this work, anyone can do it.
But to take this experience of all this suffering you went through for so long, to have this epiphany in such a, it at the end of your rope, so to speak, you're in a halfway house alone at that point. You checked yourself in, if I'm correct. And then just to have this massive aha moment, to get it all, as you say, in one instant, practically, and to just never slip back.
It was a profound experience, undeniable.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw. There's nothing I could think or do to move me from that place.
Yeah.
Once life makes sense to you,
Yes.
Or we could say the cause of all suffering, the head, and what we're thinking and believing.
So it's moving from a mind which takes a position to a mind that is free of a position, right?
Yeah, well, it's the position is unnecessary because it always shows up. When the mind understands itself, it understands this, what I see as this beautiful world.
Yes.
How did, as you transformed the positions within your own mind, how did your outer reality, describe to me how your external reality changed within your family and your friends or career?
All of a sudden, I understood my children, and I fell in, and I experienced a kind of love that I can't describe, and my husband at the time, and the house I was living in, and the streets, and I was able to walk out of the house, and I was able to really, the word, I don't know how people define the word love, but to love the human race. And that is something that has, again, lasted for more than 30 decades now. To understand the world is to love the world.
Yes.
It's what we're thinking and believing about the world that could use a little work. Einstein said there's only one important question to answer, and that is the universe friendly? Well, I'm still testing it, and it's still proving itself out to be a friendly universe. And a lot of people would argue that and come up with their proof,
Yes.
and that's their world. And I'm very thorough.
Yes.
When it comes to inquiry. So I'm a skeptic. And so far, yes, a friendly universe. A funny story.
Yes, please.
I was in San Quentin. It's a maximum men's prison, and I have a program running there, and for several years now. But one man stood up, and he raised his hand, and I called on him, and he said, "They threw me in the hole, and someone had left, loving what is there, and it changed my life." So this guy's a lifer, and he's got his life back. And it's and you know, so I throw a few of those books down in the hole for people who are, you know, down in the hole and of depression and hopelessness and confusion.
Yeah, that's right. I can see how the work applies to when I've just had an argument with my boyfriend, when I'm nervous about money, if I have a health concern, huge life stuff. Okay, sure. And then when you think of movements or I'm thinking of your statement when you said I'm a realist, I'm going from that. I would think of, would the great movements like the abolitionists, the suffragettes, the civil rights happen if people just said they're a realist and they have to just accept what is and not do anything? I know you're not saying that, but that keeps coming up. So can you help me understand?
I don't know what a realist is either.
Okay.
You know, for me, what that means is I'm sitting here in this chair with you.
Yes.
So if that's a realist, I'm a realist.
Yes.
But if there is a wrong in the world, or you know, that word wrong is odd. Wrong is really someone that just doesn't agree with us, has a different idea. But let's say someone was walking by on the street and they fell down. I'm going to be the first to move. I'm not going to look at what color. Are they filthy, dirty, like the homeless people that are becoming more and more and more a part of our society? You know, there's something off there. But I am, you know, freed is free to change what you can without living fearfully, which is the very thing that stops us. You know, like there's a well, let's say you can smell him a mile away, and he fell and said, "Oh, I'll get my hands dirty. Oh, you know, I'm on my way to." You know, when we're believing that, then how can we right the wrong?
Okay, that's
So the people who do not are not guilty; they're fearful. So, you know, that leaves someone of right mind that they would name, maybe later, compassionate, caring, kind, or maybe stupid or whatever. But I have to live with me.
Yes.
And I'm not okay leaving another human being in a position of suffering if I have an opportunity to help. And fear, you know, I move to it fluidly without a plan because there's no fear to stop me. I mean, if that's me falling, you know, I was so mentally ill, though I think that, you know, not of right mind, that if someone tried to help me, it, you know, in some way it would hurt me because my self-esteem was so low, I wouldn't want them to be infected by even touching me or even seeing me, even looking at me. I didn't want to hurt people. So that's really, there's something off with that, meaning pain really let me know.
Yeah, pain really let you know.
Yeah, and I was, oh my goodness, I was way over 200 pounds. I was just, so stuck.
Yes.
And that's why I do this work. You know, I don't want anyone to suffer. And the clearer we get, the kinder we become as human beings, and the less fearful we are, and the more able we are to shift the things that we really want to shift, like global warming. You know, it doesn't matter what the science says. I don't believe it. Well, that's not my fault if I'm that human being. If I look at what I'm thinking and believing, how could I believe it? So it's mental health first, and then we're free to live a little more intelligently, and rather than to continue to choke ourselves to death on what we're actually, that circle coming around as we live.
Let me ask you this. If the subconscious mind dictates how we are in our external reality, How does the work affect the subconscious mind in order to change negative patterns?
Well, if I, if I don't, if I see a negative pattern in myself, I want to go back. I want to look back, even if it's just, let's say I pick up something and I put it in my mouth, something out of the refrigerator, that I just know that's not good for me. I just know that. So let's say I do that,
Yeah.
and I act on it. That's okay with me.
Right.
But what was if I feel any guilt whatsoever, what was I thinking and believing just prior to going to the refrigerator, seeking that item out, and ingesting it? So what was I thinking and believing? So that takes me back always to a situation where I feel a little rub there of guilt, or maybe major guilt. It doesn't matter if it's a grain of sand or a boulder. The cause of that guilt was the cause of the poor choice I made. And in other words, the unhealthy choice, cause and effect.
Cause and effect.
Yeah, so this work is about going back to those situations where we feel a little guilty. It doesn't matter if that person deserved it or not. It's,
Right.
It's was I unkind? Was I hurtful? Was I uncaring? So I go back and I capture on paper the thoughts I was thinking and believing, and then I sit and meditate in those 4 questions and turn around. Then again, on ByronKatie.com, it's all
Yes.
clearly laid out
Yes.
how to do this. But then I'm grateful for what I did. With the refrigerator episode escapade, it's like that also was the push. So the clearer our minds, the kinder, the more intelligent our patterns and choices.
Why is it important to demystify the term enlightenment? You say, quote, people think that enlightenment must be some kind of mystical, transcendent experience, but it's not. It's as close to you as your own most troubling thought.
So enlightenment is if I'm heavy, depressed, and don't you want to be a little lighter? So we just question what we're believing in those times when we were depressed or are depressed, and we become lighter. In enlightenment. It's just another way for me to say, Katie, do the work.
And you say it's so powerful where you say, let me read another quote. No one has ever attained enlightenment. Enlightenment is not a thing. This is your quote. It's a figment of the imagination. It happens in a past that doesn't exist. Are you enlightened to your own stressful thinking right now? That's the only enlightenment that matters. I love that.
I do too.
Mic
It's
drop.
like,
Boom.
yeah, it's just like, I'm enlightened. How enlightened is that? I, and then there's you. That's not,
Yes.
not very enlightened. And enlightenment to me is just freedom.
Yes.
Just a way of being free. But then I'm so enlightened. If that doesn't end in a question mark, then wow. For me it all ends in a question mark, because it's like so much for enlightenment.
Yeah.
To be enlightened to the cause of suffering gives us all a way, our own way out.
Yes.
And we are our greatest teacher, because the answers to these questions are coming from within us.
Within.
I see the entire world as enlightened. It's just what we're thinking and believing overrides that enlightenment. It takes up all the space, and it's all fake news when we're depressed or angry, anything other than having a balanced, clear life and mind.
Yes.
And then what comes through me as a benefit to just following the simple direction is just crazy fabulous. It's It's like pure intelligence, just running uninterrupted joy.
Why are we not free until our forgiveness is complete?
It's so we're free a lot because we're not always aware of, we're not always feeling guilty.
Yeah.
So we are free of guilt. But once a situation arises where I have harmed another human being or even myself,
Yes.
which is really both, if I harm you, and that's in my opinion, not the world. If I have said or done something that I deem unkind, maybe it wasn't for you. But
Right.
I owe. It's off to work I go. So I just said something that was really to please you. It wasn't authentic. I apologize for that. Now, would you ask the question again? And let's see if I can do better. I mean, that's just an example of, I wouldn't hesitate to stop. It doesn't matter who's witnessing, let's say, an interview or anytime, anywhere, just keeping it right. Keeping it right with one's own self. I mean, after all, who am I going to please?
Right. So that's where, because forgiveness is such a big idea, concept in your work too, and we're not really free until our forgiveness is complete, but it's forgiving ourselves ultimately.
Yeah, like in the long run, I mean, isn't that what it's about? When I forgive you, I'm free. That is what it's all about.
Yes, yeah, because you are me.
Yeah.
There's no separateness.
Yeah, it's like I judge you on paper. I question what I believe, and then chances are, I owe you an apology and to admit my wrong, start over, see how I can make it right.
So it's a favorite question that I ask of certain interviewees, like yourself, who embody these traits. Katie, you have a marvelous sense of wonder, curiosity, and awe, clearly. Awe has been found to expand our perception of time, enhance our well-being, make us more generous, boost our immune system. Can you talk to me about your admirable sense of wonder, curiosity, and awe, and
goodness.
why these are needed when healing our bodies from our suffering as well as needed in today's world?
Yeah, so, without a future, we hear people talk about living in the now, which would be if I'm out of the past and out of the future, well, we all are. We're mentally living in the past or mentally living in the future, but those aren't real. That's pure imagination. So we're always here now. And so if I see the me of the past or the me of the future in my mind's eye, that's not me. That's an illusion. Like, who am I? Not that, not that. There can't be 3 of me, or there are 18 over here and 30 over here. No wonder I feel lonely. I'm everywhere but here, and I am stuck in this dream. And it can be everything from a nightmare to milder.
Yeah.
But, watching that, it's scary. You want a little guilt and shame, get a past. You want a little fear and terror, get a future. So just know, who am I? And it's here now. So without this illusion and this illusion, I don't know the future. And let's just say, well, no one does. We can think it, believe it, and maybe we're right, but we can't know. So that's the privilege of living in the present, is you don't know, and you remain like, I'm 77 in a couple of months, and it's like I have the curiosity of a child. Yes. When I was like 3, 4, 5 years old.
Beautiful.
And didn't know, and that everything is beautiful because I have nothing to believe onto it. It's like I can believe onto it, but don't know. I'm seeing it. I'm letting it show me rather than me telling me what it is. I'm letting it show me what it is. this beautiful world, this beautiful world. If someone says, I'm going to cut your head off with this sword, so far so good. My head's not cut off yet, and I don't know. And let's say that person does, he starts swinging it like that. This is pretty radical, but we'll just say I'm good until I'm not, and but if he says it and think, oh my God, he's good, because I see a future of my head already cut off. I'm seeing the blood. So is he frightening me? Or is it what I'm thinking and believing that is frightening me? So if I am awake to the difference between reality and imagination, then I don't miss the last few minutes or seconds of what could be my life. That's crazy. And also, do you want to miss the end? I mean, this person of all people, we're just like, oh my gosh. I mean, the curiosity that runs. I mean, who wants to miss it? And death, like life, is just as imagined equally. So another way of saying that is we are who we believe ourselves to be. So if I didn't believe, who am I? Well, this is good. The woman sitting with her friend in this, experiencing this marvelous time in life together. I'll take it. In my world, there's no mistake, and there's something that is kinder than I am. There is something that knows more than I do, and I refer to that often as reality. This world is, until we love what is, we live as frightened people.
Yes.
But in my world, in my earth,
Yes.
I don't have to do anything. It's all being done. It's just, do I love it yet? And if I don't, do I have 4 questions for me? Not to hypnotize me or to fool me or to talk myself into it, but the real deal, because those questions, the answers that meet them, if they're not authentic, then this work doesn't work, because we're not doing the work.
Yes.
We're guessing. When you understand the universe is friendly, there's something better. That's the law, and I'm still living that out. I don't advise other people to do it because these things come when you get sane, not crazy. What looks crazy is kind and good and sane, and it's and there's timing for everything. We're not guessing. Should I? Shouldn't I? It's just living honestly out of the moment,
Right.
and what's best for those people. That is what's best for all of us, because they're happier human beings. And I don't need a house to be happy. Happiness is a state of mind. So I care. Just, you are who I believe you to be. So if you're frightened, you're what's left of me. And so I'm here to pass on a gift. It doesn't mean you'll use it or that you're even interested. It's just that I'm here.
Mm-hmm.
And that's certainly not personal. It's a state of mind.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I see people in the world, and it's other than what they're thinking and believing, I can see they're perfectly okay, and that is that comes from my own experience. Other than what I'm thinking and believing, I'm okay. But that doesn't slow me down from how can I help, because I understand the illusion.
Yes. Yeah.
And how painful.
Katie, and I know this is what you're doing with the work and the school that you have and all the touring and the speaking and the books and the lectures and educating that you're doing. But we just we need this so much in our world today. And That's why I thought if only children this could be a required course in school.
I have a little book, Tiger, Tiger, Is It True? And children love that little book when
That's
their
right.
parents read it to them.
Well, you also had said that when you work with children, and this is before you opened the school for the work, I believe, that they just came to the work and inquiry so naturally.
Oh, they'll say things like, well, why didn't someone tell me it was so simple? They get it so quickly. And I think that's why Tiger, Tiger works so well, because it's questioning what they're believing is living like in the closet or under their bed.
Right.
And that's all we're really doing. We're questioning the apparent boogeymen in our life,
Yes.
and finding freedom from within, which is catches us up to the without.
Finding freedom from within so that we can thrive in our lives.
In our lives.
And kids are just much more in touch with that, as you're saying, because
Well,
they don't.
they haven't believed. They haven't had in the illusion of time. They haven't believed, like they're not just concrete yet. In some ways, yes.
Yeah.
But we don't get older. We just are impacting identity.
Yes.
Like turning it into like rock,
Right.
stone.
Yeah. Katie, what I love about how you facilitate the work for people is that you're able to, and I've seen many of your interviews, besides being lucky enough to have you facilitate, as you say, the work with me. What I love about how you facilitate the work for people is that you're able to, without pity, demonstrate great compassion, since you see everyone as free. This can be taken as harsh to those who are used to pitying themselves and others, as you've said. And I just think it's something that we need, and is a wonderful way to help people get to see themselves and to get to the nut of it. Katie, what do you think about this question? When is the truth the truth? We're living in a time right now where this camp claims their positions are what's true, and then that camp claims that their positions are true. Fake news. Fake. I mean, do you have any thoughts on that? When is
I
the
do.
the truth?
Just get right in yourself. What are your values? And the more inquiry we do, the kinder person where we are that we're being introduced to each time. But to be right with ourselves and show up at the ballot box and vote our conscience.
Mm-hmm.
And just keep it simple. But why do we have to vote? It's okay to vote against someone. That's a part of it. But to be as aware as we can possibly be as we research it, the values of the person we are putting in office.
Yes.
But, we all hold different values. So, basically, what I love about democracy is we get to see who we are as a people.
Yes.
And when someone interferes in an election, then, what do we do about that? I just don't see a way out other than just being right with ourselves, as informed as we can be, and to show up and vote our conscience. And, what else can we do to be right with ourselves?
It reminds me of what you've said before. If I'm upset at the reality of all of the wars that are going on,
Yeah.
Start then with, write it, do the work, and see where am I at war with myself. Oh, it's just so big.
Yeah,
And
it really is.
it really is.
And if I personally am voting against someone, it's fabulous to look at those traits in that person and see how closely they match my own, and to take care of that.
Right.
And because that is the only way we can change the world.
Right.
To live those values out in our own lives. That's powerful.
If as you've stated, the work is the how people can end their own suffering. Why do we so easily slip back to our suffering time and again?
Well, the ego's in control, and that's its job. So just expect it.
And then do the work.
Yeah, or not. Yeah, no one. This is not something people have to do. It's just one of the beautiful options out there, and it was shown to me clearly. And of course, I invite everyone to experience it. And of course, we do or we don't.
Yes, absolutely. No, it's very clear you're not saying that someone has to do this, but I mean, it's certainly a wonderful,
Well,
I know.
the work works when our mind's open to it, and that's the key, an open mind.
Yes. So as you have said, the external is the internal projected. How true. Now this is me, when I've cleared myself up from the inside, I certainly have a glow to my skin, speaking woman to woman, and through my eyes, that is the inner shine projected externally. The best facial ever, Katie. Just wanted to say that. Thought we could, put a...
There are a few perks to this work.
Yes. Good skin, Katie, thank you so much.
You know that good skin thing?
Yes.
I've never quite looked at it that way, but what I can say is when I look in the mirror, I love what I see, and it seems ageless to me without comparison. Always ageless, always okay with myself, and that's what I invite the world to, that possibility as a reality.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for your time. Appreciate it so much.
My privilege.
Thank you.
And joy.